Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to know about energy sources. This is for first MSc Chemistry in non-conventional energy sources paper. First, we have to know about the introduction of energy. The energy of your body is its capacity to do work. It is measured as the total amount of work that the body can do. The energy is the measurement of total amount of work. Energy is the primary and most universal measure of all kind of work by human beings and nature. Everything what happens in the world is the expression of flow of energy in one of its forms. The SI unit of energy is joule or kilojoule or watt per hour. Next, we have to know about the forms of energy. The energy exists in different forms. They are mechanical energy, thermal energy, chemical energy, electrical energy, nuclear energy, electromagnetic energy, and gravitational energy. The energy exists in the above forms. What are the energy sources and their availability? How the energy sources is available in the world? Today, every country drawn its energy needs from a variety of sources. So, we can broadly categorize these sources as commercial and non-commercial. The commercial sources include the fossil fuels such as coal, oil and natural gas. Then hydroelectric power and nuclear power. So, the commercial sources, that means that includes the fossil fuels, hydroelectric power and nuclear power. The non-commercial sources includes wood, animal waste and agriculture waste. Daily we have thrown to the dustbin. In an industrialized country like USA, most of the energy requirements are met from only commercial sources. So, the developed countries such as USA, they meet their energy requirements only from the commercial sources. But while in an industrially less developed country like India, the use of commercial and non-commercial sources are all about equal. So, in India, we use the commercial and non-commercial sources are almost in equal proportions. But in USA, they use only the commercial sources. Next, the energy is classified. How we can classify the energy sources? The energy sources broadly classified into two types. One is primary energy sources and another one is secondary energy sources. So, first we discuss about primary energy sources. It can be defined as sources which provide a net supply of energy. So, when we get the energy supply as a gratitude, that is sources is called as primary energy sources. The energy required to obtain these fuels as much use than what they can produce by combustion or nuclear reaction. So, this type of energy can be obtained by using combustion or nuclear reaction. That energy is called as primary energy sources. The supply of primary fuels is limited. That is very important because the supply is very limited in the primary energy sources. It becomes very essential to use this fuel sparingly. We have to does not use this primary energy sources regularly. For example, the coal, natural gas, oil and nuclear energy comes under primary energy sources. So, from the example we know that the coal, natural gas and oil are become less exist in the world. So, we have to use this primary fuels as sparingly and also it exists in limited phase. Next, secondary energy sources. It is opposite to the primary energy sources. That means it does not produce no net energy. The net energy does not created from directly from these sources. Though it may be necessary for the economy, This may not yield net energy. This is very important for the economy in the developed countries as well as developing countries. But it does not yield net energy. We have to know about the reason from the below example. What are the examples of secondary energy sources? The secondary energy sources are sun, wind, water, etc. So, from the sun, wind, water, we cannot get the net energy. We can only convert these forms and we can get the energy from these sources. That means from the sun, wind and water. It can be converted, then only we can get the net energy. Next, the energy sources is classified two types according to our syllabus. They are conventional energy sources and non-conventional energy sources. Okay. What do you mean by conventional energy sources? These are non-renewable sources. Okay. It cannot be renewed. It cannot be produced. These are non-renewable sources of energy which, if exhausted, cannot be replenished in a short time. Okay. So, we have to know the conventional energy sources are non-renewable sources of energy. Okay. So, when we exhaust this, when we use this, it cannot be replenished in a short time. That means we have to give a large time to produce and we use that energy, because the examples of conventional energy sources are fossil fuel energy, hydraulic energy and nuclear energy. The fossil fuels are only produced after 100 years or 50 years ago. So, what are meant by fossil fuel energy? Coal, petroleum and natural gas are called fossil fuels. So, why they are called fossil fuels means it is formed by the decomposition of the remains of died plants and animals buried under the earth for a long time. So, when the earthquake occurs, the plant and animals are buried under the earth, and when they are decomposed for 50 years or 100 years only, these fossil fuels can be produced. So, the example for fossil fuels is coal, petroleum and natural gas. So, we already know that these energies are non-renewable sources. That means when we used, it cannot be prepared by a short time. Next, their reserves are limited and are considered very precious. The coal, the fossil fuel energies are very limited and they are very precious because it takes long time to produce. These should be used with the care and the caution to let them last long. So, we have to know about the importance of these conventional energy sources or non-renewable sources. So, we have to use very careful and caution because our future generation have to use this type of energies. One important disadvantages, these are also contributing to the global environmental pollution. So, all over the world, the environmental pollution takes place by the conventional energy sources or non-renewable sources. Next one, the example for conventional energy sources coal. Since the advent of industrialization, coal has been most common source of energy. Long ago, we used the only for heating purpose coal is used. So, it is the most common source of energy. Coal is a complex mixture of compounds of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. When we mix the carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, we get coal. Small amount of nitrogen and sulfur compounds are also present in coal. The coal also contains nitrogen and sulfur. Depending upon the carbon content, present in the coal, it is classified into peat, lignite, bituminous and anthracite. So, the coal is classified based upon the carbon content as 4 types. They are peat, lignite, bituminous and anthracite. The lowest variety is peat and the best variety is anthracite. The lignite is used for the preparation of electricity. Peat is used in the household purposes. Bituminous and anthracite is used for the industries. So this is about coal. Next one, petroleum. It means rock oil. Rock, from the rock we can produce the petroleum. So it is called as rock oil. It is normally found under the crust of earth trapped in rocks. That means this oil is found in the rock under the crust of earth. So this is called as rock oil. The crude oil is the complex mixture of several solid, liquid and gaseous hydrocarbons mixed with water and salt and earth particles. So when we take the crude oil from the earth crust, it contains solid, liquid, gaseous hydrocarbons that is mixed with water, salt and also the earth particles. We cannot directly use the crude oil for our purposes. It can be refined. That means it can be purified form only we can use this crude oil. So for that we follow the process of fractional distillation. That fractional distillation process can be used to obtain more useful petroleum products such as petrol, kerosene, diesel, pitch, etc. At various boiling points we can get the samples of the crude oil. Next, natural gas. It consists about 95% methane and the rest of ethane and propane. So when the natural gas contains 90% methane and the other 5% contains ethane and propane. Where do you occur this natural gas? It occurs deep under the crust of earth. Below the crude oil, the natural gas is present. It occurs deep under the crust of earth, either alone or along with the oil above the petroleum deposits. This is about natural gas. It is a product of petroleum mining. Next one, hydraulic energy. Already we discussed fossil fuel energy. Next one, hydraulic energy. When water power is developed by allowing water to fall under the force of gravity, that energy is called as hydraulic energy. When we use the water power to prepare electricity, that energy is called as hydraulic energy. It must be poured from a higher surface to lower surface, then only force of gravity is created. It is used for electric power generation. So how we can create the hydraulic energy means the potential energy of water is converted into mechanical energy by using prime moves. So when the potential energy of the water is converted into mechanical energy, we can get the hydraulic energy. We know that water power is quite cheap, where water is available in abundance. So we already know that we can see the water in the form of lake, river, sea, etc. So it is a quite cheap material and it is available in abundance. So we can generate electrical power by using this hydraulic energy. Although capital cost of hydroelectric power plants is higher as compared to other types of power plant. When the water power is also cheap, abundant, but there is a drawback in this hydraulic energy, that is the capital cost is very much higher when compared to other power plants. But their operating costs are very low as no fuel is required. This is the main advantages of hydraulic energy, because the operating power is quite low. The amount is very low as no fuel is required. For other energy sources, the fuel is very important. But the hydraulic energy, production of hydraulic energy, there is no fuel is required. The development rate of hydropower is still low due to following problems. The development rate of hydropower is low because of, in developing a project, it will take about 6 to 10 years for planning, investigation and construction. When we decided to plan a project in the hydraulic energy, it requires 6 to 10 years for planning, investigation and construction. So this is also a major problem to develop hydropower. Next, already we discussed, high capital investment is also needed, and some parts of the investment have to be designed from foreign sources. In India, we cannot produce the construction material, so we can export from the foreign sources. So the capital investment is also a high. Next, there are growing problems on relocation of villages involving compensation for damage, selecting the suitable resettlement area and environmental impact. These are the major problems for hydraulic energy. Next one, nuclear energy. Already we discussed fossil fuel energy, hydraulic energy. Third one, nuclear energy. The heat produced by nuclear fission of the atoms of fissionable material is utilized in special heat exchangers for the production of steam, which is then used to drive turbo generators as in the conventional power plant. This nuclear energy is produced by the fissionable material by the reaction of nuclear fission. There are some limitations in the use of nuclear energy or high capital cost, limited availability of raw material, disposal of radioactive waste and shortage of well-trained personnel to handle the nuclear power plants. When using the nuclear energy, we have to face the following problems. It requires high capital cost. The sources, raw material sources is very limited. The disposal of waste is very difficult. Next, the shortage of well-trained personnel is also not available. These are the main drawbacks of nuclear energy. So, now we came to our topic, non-conventional energy sources. Our world is moving to non-conventional energy sources because the non-conventional energy sources is called as renewable sources. That means the energy is produced continuously. It is inexhaustible. So, the sources of energy which are being produced continuously in nature and are inexhaustible are called renewable sources of energy or non-conventional energy sources. That means the sources of energy is available in nature in long time. So, it cannot be replenished. So, this energy is called as renewable energy sources or non-conventional energy sources. Some of the non-conventional energy sources are wind energy, tidal energy, solar energy. From the example, we know that it is a renewable energy sources. Day to day, time to time, the wind energy, tidal energy, solar energy is renewable. So, this is called as non-conventional energy sources. First, we are going to discuss about wind energy. The winds are caused because of two factors. So, what are the factors? The absorption of solar energy on the earth surface and in the atmosphere. The solar energy is absorbed by the earth surface and in the atmosphere, the wind is produced. Next, another point, the rotation of the earth about its axis and its motion around the sun. When the earth is rotated and the sun is around this, we can produce the wind energy. So, how do we get the wind energy? The wind energy can be get by using a windmill. What is meant by windmill? A windmill converts the kinetic energy of moving air into mechanical energy. So, that moving air, when passing through the windmill, the kinetic energy is converted into mechanical energy that can be either used directly to run the machine or to run the generator to produce electricity. The kinetic energy is converted into mechanical energy. Then the energy can be used directly as to run the machine or to run the generator to produce the electricity. Next one, tidal energy. What is meant by tide? Tides are generated primarily by the gravitational attraction between the earth and the moon. When the earth and the moon have the gravitational attraction, the tides are produced in the mid-ocean. Okay, they arise twice a day in mid-ocean. Basically, in a tidal power system, water at high tide is first trapped in an artificial basin and then allowed to escape at the low tide. Okay, in a tidal power station, the water at high tide is first trapped in the artificial basin, then it is allowed to escape at a low tide. The escaping water is used to drive water turbines, which in turn drive electrical generators. The escaping water is used to drive water turbines, that is used for the electrical generators. Next one, solar energy. We aim to know about and we use the solar energy. What is meant by solar energy? Energy from the sun is called solar energy. The sun energy comes from nuclear fusion reaction that takes place deep in the sun. Okay, in the sun there is a nuclear fusion reaction takes place. Though that sun energy is called as solar energy. Here hydrogen nucleus fuse into helium nucleus, that is called as solar energy. The energy from this reaction flow out from the sun and escape into space and used as solar energy. That energy comes out from the sun and escape into the phase, we can use as solar energy. It had lot of applications such as solar water heater, solar cooker, solar distillation and solar lighting system. So, today we know about the primary energy sources, secondary energy sources, conventional energy sources and non-conventional energy sources. We have to know that some of the important energy conservation quotes. So, first one, conserve energy to preserve future. So, we have to conserve the energy to preserve it for our future generation. Next one, every act of energy conservation is more than just common sense, it is an act of patriotism. So, very important quote, every act of energy conservation, when we prevent the energy, then it is mean that we are in good patriotic people. Next one, save energy, save money, save nation, save the planet. Next, energy saved is energy generated. When we save energy, little bit of energy, we can generate the energy. Next one, saving energy today will make tomorrow bright. So, when we save a small amount of electrical energy, water energy, then it becomes tomorrow a brighter one. Next, 3 R's we have to follow. One is reduce, reuse and recycle. These 3 are very important 3 R's in the energy conservation. There is no crisis of energy, but there is just ignorance about energy. We does not exploit energy. We have a ignorance about energy, that's why we are wasting the energies. A bright and happy future is only possible when we pledge to conserve energy in every way possible. Then only our future generation uses the energy. Thank you girls for your patient listening.